everyone, this is Angela with all of you. Today we're going to make a horseshoe necklace. Here's your list of materials. Okay, we're going to start with 16 gauge wire and a 3-step mandrel plier. Then we cut that wire. The wire length is around 1.5 inches. You want to leave your wire long and wrap it around the mandrel, and that's the middle mandrel size. That way you have more leverage. If you cut it first, you really can't get much leverage. Alright, now we're going to take our chasing hammer and flare those ends. And we just lightly hammer those ends, flip it, lightly hammer the other side. This way the horseshoe will curve together naturally like a horseshoe does. If you don't flip it, they don't seem to curve right. They'll both want to curve to the left or right. There we go. And then we're going to take our heavy-duty, very rough nail file, and round those ends to get any rough spots out. We really want to just have those nice, smooth, and rounded. So we'll do one side, go ahead and do the other side. Now with this very rough file, which is just a super heavy-duty salon nail file that I found on Amazon, it does leave a burr on the end. You can kind of see that. So what we do is we take a very high grit sandpaper. I like the kind that has a foam backing, because then I can just press into the sandpaper and it really seems to want to remove those burrs, any potential burrs that exist there. So when you're wearing the necklace, or the wearer is wearing the necklace, there's never any discomfort. You're sure that they're going to get a very smooth piece. It also gives it a really nice brushed look. So then we take our 26 gauge wire, and you want to secure that with your index finger and thumb underneath the horseshoe. Start your wrapping. You're going to do 3 full wraps. Pull it pretty firm. Then take your pliers, secure that on there to make sure it's not going to slip. Wrap that 4th wrap around the plier. Don't pull it tight like you did the others. This way you can take your chain and just slip it onto the wire. That leaves enough room for that chain to move freely and not break like it would if you pulled the wire tight. The chain really has nowhere to move, so it generally breaks if you don't leave a little bit of space. We're going to finish up with 3 more wraps so everything's symmetrical. Make sure we press on just about every side to make sure that all of that wire lines up and that none is overlapping. When you cut the ends, cut it very close to the horseshoe, then take your pliers and you just very gently roll around that wire, and it just blends right in with the rest of your wrap and looks very nice. Okay, we'll do one little final tighten here. Just make sure everything is lined up perfectly. Smooth it. I also kind of like to press them together to make sure there's not a little bit more space between 1 wrap and 2 wraps up. I just like for everything to be very symmetrical. There you go. So this side's pretty much done. Make sure that bottom's going to stay on there. It's the reason you want to flare, is so that it keeps the wire wrap on the horseshoe. You want to double check that bottom too to make sure it's not going to slide down. So here we go again. 3 wraps, and take your pliers. Give yourself just a little bit of breathing room. Pull the chain around. Secure it between your fingers. Do your final 3 wraps. Cut close to your horseshoe. Gently fold those around and secure everything on pretty much every side. And then you want to press those the wrap together a little bit too to make sure there's no air between them. Okay, we're almost done. So now we're just going to take our jump ring or O-ring, and this just a slight motion with 2 pairs of pliers. That way your ring's not going to warp. And we'll go ahead and get the chain on there. Make the same movement. It's just a very slight movement. And I like to press it just a little bit together. At the end you can feel a click, and that's when you know that your O-ring is closed. You can also look to a light, an LED light, or a piece of paper, and make sure that you don't have any air in that O-ring. I also slide chain around my O-ring, and once I feel that connection point, I'll tug a little bit just to make sure that chain's not going to come out of there. And we do the same thing with the clasp. Just open that, put the chain on, tighten it well on each side to make sure that there's no burr. There we go. And we're done. And that'll finish up the necklace. We generally make our necklaces around 17 inches. You can make yours whatever length you prefer, but most people tend to like this necklace around 17 inches. There you go. Happy making! If you have an item that you would like to learn to make, let us know in the comments, and that might be our next video. Thanks!